Hi, Jim here with No Longer Chunky, where you get the latest tips, tricks, and strategies to help you on your weight loss journey. I've lost over 150 pounds now using Bright Line Eating, and on this channel I focus primarily on helping those who follow Bright Line Eating or who want to learn more about the Bright Line Eating method of losing weight and keeping it off. So if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. Now this is video number 2 in a series on Plan to Eat, which is the app that I use to do all my Bright Line Eating food journaling and meal planning. Now in the previous video I showed you how, once set up, you can easily do an entire week's worth of meal planning in under 5 minutes a week, and that will even create a shopping list for you. Now in this video I'm going to show you how you can easily add recipes into your Plan to Eat software, and that software again is accessible either on your phone or on your desktop. So let's take a look right now. There's a few different ways that you can go ahead and add recipes into Plan to Eat. So once in the add recipe section, I'm going to just go ahead and click on here some options. Now in the last video I did show you how you can have friends, and you can load a recipe from a friend that they are giving you access to. And in fact, if you sign up for a free trial of Plan to Eat, which does not require any credit card or payment information, you'll automatically, during your trial period and beyond, if you choose to continue, will be connected to No Longer Chunky as a friend, and you'll have access to any of the recipes that I've added into this account already. You can also import recipes from a file. I'm not going to spend any time on that, but a lot of other recipe programs, if you've put a lot of recipes into other programs, you may be able to just import them into your new Plan to Eat account. Your other option, of course, you can add any recipes you want by hand. You can go ahead and type in anything you need here. You can upload a picture of that of that recipe, so you've got it. One tip would be when you're doing the entry, you can actually use the bulk input rather than the line item input. The bulk input allows you to just type an ingredient and then hit return. As long as you have one ingredient per line, it will then automatically break it out for you. This way you don't have to spend all that time doing the tabbing and Dropbox and things like that. So this one's fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here. Go back to add recipes. I want to show you another option, import from the web. You can click on this, and right from here you can go ahead and search for a recipe here. So let's do baked beans, and this is going a little slow, but I'm going to do a search. And so within Plan to Eat I can go ahead and find a recipe, and if I click import, it should go ahead and import that recipe right into Plan to Eat for me, and you'll in fact see what it will do. Now if I look up here, a draft recipe was successfully clipped from all recipes, so that tells me this was successful. And I can come down here now and I can do any editing I want before I add this recipe in. I'll show you more of that in just a minute, but I'm going to cancel out of here. I've got a recipe up here that I found that I'm interested in loading in, so I'm going to come up here, and I've added this Add to Plan to Eat button to my favorites menu. You can actually do that by, in the cook section, this Add Recipe button. If you right click and just drag it up to your bar, it will add it there for you. So I'm in this recipe, I'm searching the web, I find a recipe that looks interesting to me. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this Add to Plan to Eat button, and you'll notice it's going to start immediately pulling this in. And not every website plays nicely with Plan to Eat, but many do, and this one it looks like it does. So let's look at what we've got here. First thing you'll notice is there is a photo that it comes with that they're pulling right off the website. I can change the photo and actually opt for any of the other pictures that are available on the website, and of course I'll have the option later if I wanted to include a photo of the recipe once I'm done of my own photo. I can do that. I can then edit any of this information before I save the recipe. So I'm going to keep it pretty much all this as is. Looks like here's a typo here, so I can fix that. Just perfect for watching the game at your next party. I could even just delete that if I wanted to. I'm going to keep most of this the same. Now you'll notice this recipe is not Bright Line compliant because it has added sugar, so I'm going to just go ahead and take that out right there. So that sugar is now gone, and everything else looks good. And so I can come down here too, and in the directions I'm going to also remove the reference to the brown sugar. And boom. Now I've got a Brightline Eating compliant recipe for my Instant Pot. Now if I wanted to, what I would do if I was doing Brightline Eating, I could add this in the instructions if you wanted to, but I would go ahead and just chop all that rib meat off the bones so I could weigh out the portion that was appropriate for me. And so I can also add any prep notes if I want to. I can add tags in here. We discussed this last time, but I'm going to leave this right now as a main course. Main ingredient, this is definitely pork, so I'm going to choose that. And for my tags, notice it's giving me options for tags, and I've already got Brightline Eating as a tag in there, so I'm going to add that tag. I'm also going to add in the Instant Pot. I have an Instant Pot. We use that at least once a day, usually more. And so I'm going to put those two tags in so it's easier for me to find when I'm doing my meal planning with Plan to Eat. So I'm not going to worry about any nutritional information. Sometimes this might pull in for you, but most of the time it's not, and that doesn't really matter to me so much with Brightline Eating. We don't count calories. We weigh and measure our food, which I think works much better. Now I'm just going to hit Save Recipe, and it is now saved that recipe, Instant Pot Ribs, to my Plan to Eat app. So I'm just going to close that. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to search ribs and see if that comes up. And lo and behold, look at that, Instant Pot Ribs, Father and Us. I can click on it, I can get all the information, I can again delete it from here, I can make any changes that I would like to, and I can now use this and add it to my meal plan for the week, or use it to make other menus, etc. And so easy peasy. Now I do want to show you one other thing. Typically you wouldn't do it here, but you can make a recipe private. So if you are going to be friends with someone on Plan to Eat, most of the time it's not a problem, but let's say you've got a recipe that maybe you're just experimenting with, or perhaps it's a family secret and you don't want anyone to know, you can go ahead and click on this Make Private, and now any of your friends will not be able to see this recipe. I'm going to go ahead and remove that and leave it there, but that is one way that you can go ahead and add a recipe. I do want to show you one other way. It's virtually similar, but here's another recipe that I found that looks of interest to me. But this is a website that doesn't play as well with Plan to Eat, so it's going to be importing the recipe, and notice it does import some things, but it says they had trouble importing the directions and the ingredients. So I can still get it in here, but I've got a little bit more work to do. So if I want to do a description, I can. I could certainly just copy and paste this in right here, and there we have it. Here are the ingredients. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to use the bulk input on the ingredients, and so I'm just going to copy this here. Boom, I've got that, and then I'm going to, in my case, I'm going to leave out the dressing right now because I notice it's not Brightline Eating compliant, but at least this will give me something that I can work with. And then same with the directions. I'm just going to copy and paste those into here. And then again, I would go through and I would make any changes to make this compliant with Brightline Eating, but then I would have this in my account. I could, once I've kind of fixed it, I would put this under Brightline Eating. Main ingredient, this is really kind of beans and vegetables, and also under tag I'm gonna put vegan. That would certainly work with vegan, and it would also work, you know, whatever you want. If you want things that are vegetarian but not vegan, I mean, you can kind of mark it however you want. I'm going to save the recipe, and now that is also in my Plan to Eat. The Southwest black bean salad with citrus dressing. I again wouldn't probably do the citrus dressing, or I'd modify it. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go bean in my recipe, and I'm going to find this here. Here it is, the one we just added. I'm going to delete it because I don't want that in there quite yet because I've not had time to make it compliant yet, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But that's how easy it is to add recipes. You're out looking on the web somewhere, and this is great. You know, those Pinterest recipes that you have that you've never done anything with, go ahead and go to your Pinterest board, and you can easily navigate to the website with that recipe, and you can go ahead and add it in, and add in your favorite recipes that are either already Bright Line Eating compliant or those that you just have to modify a bit. So I hope that's helpful. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you want more information on my journey with Bright Line Eating, you can always visit my website at nolongerchunky.com. That's nolongerchunky.com. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.